Well, thank you for joining us this Monday for our daily 180 Bible study. We're continuing a study of sin. What is sin? What is the nature of sin? And we noticed last week as we concluded that sin separates man from God. That's Isaiah 59, 1 and 2. And we noted that when man sins, it's not that there's a separation like this, but if this is God and this is man, God stays put. Man is the one that moves away. I want us to think about the seriousness of sin and exactly what happens in the process. In the book of 1 John, chapter 2, and verse number 15, listen to what John writes. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Now it's interesting as we look back at the beginning of time in Genesis chapter 3, Adam and Eve are in the garden and there is another one present there. Satan is present in the form of a serpent and he comes to Eve and he asks Eve a question. He says in verse number 1 of Genesis 3, has God indeed said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Satan said, is God really trying to deprive you and keep you from enjoying all the good things of life? And Eve said, no, just this one tree. And Satan begins to entice her. Remember that idea of being lured? But she doesn't wind up with what she thinks she's going to wind up, nor does Adam for that matter. And listen to what Satan said. She said, we'll die. And he said, you shall surely not die, verse number 4. Verse 5, for God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Well, Satan was partially right. Their eyes were open, and they had a new understanding of right and wrong, but it was not what they expected. And as a result of their rebellion, there was only one thing that they could do, and they did that one thing. Of course, I got to cut them some slack because if I'd been there, I would have done it much sooner, I'm sure. But that one thing, they did it, and when they did it, their eyes were open, but they were not God's. They were separated from God. And when we sin, we don't become God, we separate ourselves from God. Thank you for being with us today, and join us again for our daily 180 Bible study.